We just escaped Ganondorf's clutches. Now it's time to recover and have a chat. With me today, I have Brad, the Duke of Dekus.
Hello, everyone. I love my title.
And me, I'm Hunter, and I am also here. And today we wanted to go over the recent gameplay analysis that AG Aonuma recently did.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of go through with a fine-tooth comb analysis style and see what we can pick out.
Absolutely. This I've actually been looking forward to this sort of reveal. It actually kind of gives more to the soul of what this new game's going to be about, or not necessarily about, but what's it going to be like. So I'm happy to get into this.
Yeah, it showcases like this game's main gimmick. It's like with the first game, it was able to kind of stand on its own merits as like the first like really big open world Zelda. But this one, I think maybe needs to prove itself a little bit more. So we were all kind of waiting for the hook. What's the gimmick of this game?
Yeah.
And we got it just now. So I'm super excited about this game now after this gameplay demonstration. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this gameplay demonstration. Starts off with Aonuma rocking that, rocking this style, the t-shirt with the blazer that we were talking about that Miyamoto also does.
Yeah, looking spiffy. I like it. I was gonna say, it just looks like there's so much stuff flowing up from the overworld. I know that like that the image, we've seen it many times before, but it kind of just looks like so much is erupting from the ground.
Yeah, with this going on with Hyrule Castle, something
the Calamity
going on with Death Mountain. And we've seen in previous trailers, the tornado thing. But we've seen in previous trailers that the ground is just covered in malice for some reason.
Yeah, it harkens to Skyward Sword, and there's no way to not draw the comparisons.
Oh, 100%. And Skyward Sword was the game that we got just before Breath of the Wild. That was the previous Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it makes sense why we got the first game of the timeline with Skyward Sword, and then the very next game that they made was the last game in the timeline. And Skyward Sword is when they started focusing a lot more on the lore of Zelda. And I get a lot of the hints that Tears of the Kingdom is going to dip into a lot more to the lore as well.
Mm-hmm. Especially with this new Link. And this kind of, it feels like a new world with the way they tell its story.
Yeah, it's still the same Link from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like, more in the sense of, like, this, because this is such a departure from the other Zelda games, it kind of feels like a new Hyrule as we're going about it. Like, everything else is touched upon as legend, versus this, it's like, well, this is, like, a continuation story of, like, like, almost as though we're, like, in the present, and we're only looking at the other games as though they were legends of the past.
Yeah, the legends of Zelda, if you will.
Yeah. I like that.
We have Aonuma again. I'm loving his spectacles.
I like how his controller matches his outfit for the most part.
It does, yeah.
I think there's a little bit of blue in that blazer, but
a little bit, yeah.
I could be wrong.
It's like a navy.
Very dark navy.
So we start off in this is the area right east of the Dueling Peaks.
This is, I believe, the graveyard, no? Like the ruins of,
right outside Hateno Village.
With the right arm of Link being all, destroyed and decrepit, looking at, what is that Studio Ghibli movie that this is obviously paying homage to?
Are you talking about Princess Mononoke?
Yes, Princess Mononoke. I know, I don't recall if there was interviews that talked towards this, but it looks like there was a lot of inspiration on his design with that movie.
Yeah, not just Princess Mononoke. There's a lot of just Ghibli story elements in general with this game, I feel like. With definitely Princess Mononoke, but also Castle in the Sky for obvious reasons.
There's castle's moving into the sky.
Yeah. But people have pointed out that there's a lot. I think I even sent you a video once of a lot of the connections between this game and a lot of the Studio Ghibli stories. And I don't know if maybe Studio Ghibli directly was the inspiration, because a lot of Ghibli movies are actually based on other works, like other novels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're just like dramatic retellings, like just movies, basically animated movies that are based on like really old, open to the public. Anyone can make stories about them. But yeah, this seems to like be based on a lot of like old Japanese folk tales and stuff like that, essentially. Right away, I know we haven't really gone to the in the sky section yet, but we learn of an enemy soon called constructs. And we actually see some constructs on the surface right here.
They look like they're out in the prowl, and I'm guessing that these. I mean, the Guardians might still be around doing their thing. I don't think they've ever left, but I wouldn't be surprised if these new constructs kind of take up that role on the overview or on the overworld, where you'll have other really big ones kind of just scowling around looking for Link, or looking for maybe even settlements. That'd be pretty cool. Like random encounters, you can like save people from constructs going into like a little village or something.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And one thing about the Guardians in Breath of the Wild is that the Guardians were supposed to be good, but they were corrupted, and when they were corrupted, their eyes went from this like Sheikah blue green to red. And compared to the constructs we see in the sky, which have just that bluish green, like Zonai or ancient Sheikah or something looking energy, we see these guys' eyes as red. So maybe these are like corrupted constructs or something along those lines.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyways. We're riding. We see a stable in the distance. Still horses. So like we'll still be able to find horses, obviously. Yeah. It's an awkward angle. He's looking at the Sky Islands.
I really like that Sky Island kind of looks like the Voss, was it Meadow? But obviously it's just a floating island. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
kind of.
Obviously it's just kind of an island. That's just my eyes playing tricks on me, I believe.
We do see one of these swirly, what we're assuming are teleport points right here, which is kind of cool. We've been seeing these all over the map in previous trailers. And a few things here. One, the horses, like the horse statues, the stables now, have these like puffs of smoke coming out of them, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a small little detail that wasn't in Breath of the Wild. I don't think that this stable was here in Breath of the Wild. The stable is...
I thought there was something here, but at the entrance of this area. So
yeah, closer to the Dueling Peaks. It was like at the foot of the Dueling Peaks.
Might be here. I thought there was a shrine at the bottom of the Dueling Peaks. Like
there
right
was
in front of where Link is. I thought there was a shrine.
There was, but a lot of the shrines from Breath of the Wild are not in this game. Okay. The shrines in general are gone. There's no shrines in Tears of the Kingdom, at least not the same way that Breath of the Wild does. Had shrines, but there are these swirly things at some of the locations where shrines have been in the past.
So I guess they're opting just to remove them entirely. I thought they might make them like an old like little relic thing where it's just kind of old, decrepit, and it doesn't work anymore. But
no, a lot of people have pointed out like this in the same landscapes where shrines would be. There's nothing in the trailers. And same with the towers, the Sheikah Towers. There should be a Sheikah Tower actually in view. I think over here-ish, people have pointed out, but that's gone. So the Sheikah Towers are gone too.
Okay.
It's a pretty different world that we're in. Actually, you might be right. I might be wrong. I think this is the Dueling Peaks.
That looks like the Dueling Peaks.
Okay. I don't think that this is the same stable because it's facing the wrong direction if that's the case, but they also are probably just taking liberties with what they're putting where exactly. Yeah, in that case, the shrine should be right about here-ish, but I don't see it.
I thought it was like in a bit of water, if I remember. I could be wrong.
Maybe it was around like the water there at the end of the river. Anyways, we see, this is really cute, a Korok right here.
Okay.
He's saying, I need to reach my friend. And he's like having trouble with his bag.
I wonder if the friend's Ketsu.
It's probably something along those lines, yeah.
It's also weird that he's just out in the open.
There are some Koroks out in the open. Like Hestu kind of shows up out in the open, but not everyone can see the Koroks.
Well, normally they'd be out in the open, but you like discover them and then they pop out. But like
Hmm.
normally they would be hiding, not just in plain sight. Normally you'd have to find them first. But this one's just kind of out and about. He's a little adventurer.
Yeah, and we pointed out at the end of the previous trailer, the most recent trailer that we got, trailer 2, I think technically, that at the very end there's a Korok flower.
Hmm.
I wonder if Korok puzzles in that sense are still going to come back, but then also there's some kind of quests with these guys with their bags.
I would be okay if they don't give me any more of those puzzles and just kind of give me more normal quests. Like they're just a race in
Like
the game that
these.
you interact with. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I have mixed thoughts. I quite liked the Korok puzzles, but I totally get why.
I don't like 900 of them to the
Yeah.
point where I just ignore them.
And I think that maybe they're probably doing fewer Korok puzzles like that and maybe mixing some quests into them to make it a little bit more manageable because
Yeah.
I think again some people really liked that there was 900 Korok seeds. A lot of people really did not. So I think that they're trying to figure out where the balance is for this game.
And Nintendo fashion, I think it's 120.
Yeah, like there were shrines. Another thing, quickly, previously the way that you switched between your Sheikah runes was by pressing up on the D-pad. And
Yeah.
up on the D-pad now appears to be the resources menu,
Hmm.
which is interesting. I don't know why exactly they made that change, but your abilities is now locked to the L trigger, and they're doing a really bad job of keying out Link's ability here. But we'll see him use the ability in just a
Yeah,
minute.
there'll be plenty of others. I saw them rotating through.
Hmm. And we have Beetle returning.
Oh yeah, I see him. Oh, over there in the corner there.
There's our favorite
He's
Beetle loving guy.
he's been a returning character since I believe Wind Waker.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know if he was in Twilight Princess.
No, he was. He just had a very different design.
Oh, okay. He was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was. Yeah, I guess so. In all the 3D Zelda games, at least. We have. I think this is interesting. This like building, like unfinished building
Yeah.
platform. A lot of people think that the focus of this game is going to be rebuilding Hyrule.
Yeah.
And this maybe lends some credence to that. This is like a small stable outside of Hateno Village. And so
Hmm.
it'd be interesting if maybe the Bolson Construction Company or something, the guys that built Terrytown, were
Hmm.
maybe trying to build up Hyrule again. Or
I would very much like that because I mean, if for everyone who played Breath of the Wild, it's a great game, and on first experience, it's awesome to explore the world and it feels good up until you realize there's not a lot there, and
Mhm.
it's more of just exploring for exploring's sake. I think if they go a path where you construct Hyrule, maybe even in a way that you would like it to see, maybe there's some creativity there.
Yeah.
And then like as you create these villages, you get like quests associated with the village. I would
Yeah.
very much appreciate that, and I think it would at least it would give me more hours of playtime.
Yeah, and I think that like I really liked the exploration for exploration's sake. I think a lot of people did, but that really only works the first time around, right?
Yeah,
That's why that first time everyone loved that, like just even though it's big and empty. I think that people liked it almost because it was big and empty. Like it just
yeah.
the sign
There
of
was
serenity, peacefulness of it. But
it was fun going to look at all the landscape and seeing Hyrule and like what you can kind of do and interact with. And I it wasn't like there wasn't anything to do. It was just
mhm,
more like when you understood how to properly like navigate through the game, you realize just how much stuff you can just kind of skip over because it didn't really
yeah.
matter
Yeah,
whether or
once
not
you've
you
done your
interacted
first
with it.
playthrough.
Yeah, so you can just kind of ignore it.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to balance that out in this game though.
Because it's the same Hyrule, more or less. We've pointed out before that there are caves where there weren't in Breath of the Wild and stuff like that in the
Yeah.
everything we know about Tears of the Kingdom video. So
Hmm.
this is a different version of the world, but the geography is still going to be like mostly the same. So
The
they need
skeleton is there, but we're gonna mess around with what you see on the skeleton. Like it's
exactly,
gonna
yeah.
move. It's gonna move a little different. Maybe the skin's gonna look a little different though.
And that's why I think that that's something that you really need, even because the geography is going to be like 90% the same. You need some stuff like this for the returning
Hmm.
players because that second playthrough of Breath of the Wild wasn't the same as the first.
No.
So stuff
And
like this, where you're recontextualizing the world a little bit, is going to be really cool.
this is also kind of a story thing too, because at the very end of Breath of the Wild, it was very much hinted that that's what Link and Zelda were going to go off and do. They were going to go rebuild Hyrule,
Yeah,
and we know that this game started as DLC, and this is probably what they had in mind. But I think
yeah,
they're making their own game to fully flesh out this idea, because I think in the middle of their DLC, they're like, guys, the tool sets that we're working on here is really fun. So
yeah.
I think we should build a whole game around it.
They said basically exactly that in interviews and stuff like that before, where basically this game started off as DLC for Breath of the Wild, and even the DLC for Breath of the Wild was just cut content that they couldn't fit into Breath of the Wild. So this is almost, when we say that this is a true sequel to Breath of the Wild, it's that way in almost every single way. Yeah, I think that it could be really interesting. We also see some kind of settlement over here. It looks like some kind of buildings are being set up. I don't know if this is a Bokoblin camp. We also see this structure in the distance with some kind of pink smoke coming out of it.
I wonder if that's like a magic shop.
Yeah, I was thinking, what was Kilton?
Hilton.
Yeah, that maybe
What
this
a
is something to do with Kilton's shop or something. Or maybe it's a
maybe it's
character that we haven't met yet.
maybe it's the return of Agatha and her bugs.
Actually, hey, I didn't hate Agatha. Anyways, we can continue from here. We
It's a
see
pretty
this.
cool shot.
It's a really cool shot. This piece
Now
falling.
Aonuma highlighted that's falling, and we're gonna go over to that.
Yeah,
I kind of
checking
like
it
that
out.
there's just kind of falling pieces of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of Chicken Little. I didn't like that movie, but
The sky is
you know,
falling.
yeah.
Also, this is a good close-up shot. I don't think that we've
hmm
seen this bow before. We've seen this shield a few times, but that's a new item, I think.
Looks very Zonai inspired with the
Mm-hmm.
blue, with the like the green, blue, and yellow or orange.
Yeah.
I like this ability for whatever reason. Like the way that all the colors and the way the ability works, it reminds me of Blinks the cat on the Xbox. It's a very weird
Interesting.
reference, but but it's strikes me as like it's Blinks the cat.
Interesting idea.
If you
Yeah.
know what that is, let me know so I'm not the only one.
Please comment because Brad just gave it a really obscure reference. We do have like this like floating kind of piece of this island right here. So it's just interesting. A lot of people have been pointing out that these could be islands similar to the way that we have shrines in Breath of the Wild. So these
Yeah.
could be kind of the replacement for shrines because the shrines are missing. So each of these islands could have these like somewhat large-ish puzzle kind of elements to them, which
Mhm.
could be kind of cool. And maybe this floating piece, this floating box here is a part of that. We pause
Now I
it.
noticed when going up just how tall there's other islands that go up in the sky. I wonder just how high we really go, because if we look over and we see that giant structure right before, that's pretty high up.
Yeah, this is way
Um
higher than this. This
yeah,
island seems higher than this, and this
and then
seems like
that guy's
way high.
yeah. And I'm wondering, because maybe it's just so far in the distance that when we get up to those really big structures, like the sky really opens up and there's even more above
Yeah.
that. Because I could definitely see the literal whole other world as you
Mhm.
get more far higher and higher and higher. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm really
definitely.
hoping so.
I can definitely see this game having a lot of verticality too. I mean, literal verticality already with
Yeah.
these things are already higher than the tallest peak of Breath of the Wild's map, but even higher than that. Like that's
Because this
crazy.
game has been in development for like what, 6 years? So
Yeah.
clearly there's probably some hidden land masses that as you get up higher, you it only reveals itself as you get to those heights.
That's going to be really interesting seeing all that.
It'll be fun.
So we fly down to this mountain, showing off some stuff in the distance. We
I noticed
see,
that is there some glowing lights? Right. I see the cloud of death over there.
yeah, I think that's
Miasma.
thunder. There's some thunder
There,
happening there.
There was, if you keep going forward, I thought I saw some light coming from the ground right there to the left, or
Oh yeah,
smoke or steam or
we've
something.
pointed out these are towers before in the
Those are towers.
in a previous
Oh,
trailer.
that's
Yeah,
right. They were like mining towers, right?
something we didn't get a close up view on it, but there are like these lights coming up on these towers that are not the same as the Sheikah towers. They look completely different
Yeah.
and they're in different areas.
I
But
think if I'm gonna predict, I think those were like mining sites that the Bokoblins were using.
that's what I'm assuming too. Yeah. We land in that box. We see a dragon.
Oh yeah, that's mm.
And I
And it looks a little different than the ones that we've seen so far. And there's a tower in the distance too.
yeah, I forgot to mention in our Everything We Know About Tears of the Kingdom video, but there was also a dragon in that video. And that
Mm,
video was not one of the three dragons from Breath of the Wild. There's Farash, Dinral, and Nadra.
yeah.
This dragon has a differently shaped head than all of them.
Mm.
Same like arm and everything placement, but this is a new dragon. So that's just cool.
I also noticed something on the UI, on the middle mini map. I think it tells you the altitude.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we go
I didn't
back
even
to when
notice
we
that
were
the last time.
ascending, we go from like 50 to like
Uh,
we're rising fast.
it looks like it even gives you the latitude and longitude too. If you like move, if when he moves around, I think it
Mhm.
also changes. So that's going to be something people are going to do online, where it's like, here's the three magic numbers to get to a certain place.
Yeah, I expect a lot of that. And also the map in general, people have been pointing out that aside from it looking slightly different, like the UI, like
Mhm.
the way that the map looks, like the colors for the landscape and all that is different from Breath of the Wild. It also seems way more zoomed out, which I personally appreciate.
Yeah,
I think that having a more zoomed out map is just really helpful. So maybe there's some kind of customizability to the UI this time around.
yeah, that'd be nice. I like having more of a like a wider shot when it comes to my landscapes.
Yeah. And also I'm just noticing we've been pointing out a few of those paintings on the ground and on
Oh
rocks and stuff
yeah.
like that. There's one right here
It
on what
also looks like
looks
there's
like,
something on the water.
yeah, like a lake with some kind of whirlpool happening.
Is that where the Zoras were? Is that where the I forget the elephant's name, but
Um this is the east part of the map, but this is like, wait a minute. No, this is like southeast. And we're
the
looking
Gar-
slightly west though. No, I don't think so.
no,
This
I
would
don't think
be
so either.
the
That's
Tabantha
Gerudo.
region.
Yeah, the Gerudo territories over there. That's like not. I don't think that's where the it was Ruda.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Gerudo, not Tabantha. But yeah, this is like desert. So that's, and I don't know what that water. That's why there's a lot that's changed. Because that
mhm.
puddle, that lake wasn't there in Breath of the Wild. So there's a lot that's going to be different in this map still. We see some malice on this mountain here.
Yeah. Now, is that the mountain? Is that the ice mountain that you go to where the what was it? It was the blue dragon in Breath of the Wild. Is that where that one is?
Um,
It's one of the shrines that
Nadra.
Zelda had to go to. I thought
I think it might be, yeah. And there's
it
a
looks like it.
tower on top of it now.
Yeah. So do they? Maybe it has something to do with the shrines? Because didn't was there a shrine where that
The
other
dragon
long
shrine,
tower
yeah.
is?
Nadra shrine. Shrine of
Yeah.
wisdom or something like that.
Are those towers involved with the shrines?
This
Not
tower
the
wasn't
not the
there in Breath of
yeah.
the Wild. This is new.
No,
And
I know, but are the towers popping up where those like Hylian shrines were?
no, not all of them, because this is not where any of the shrines were. This is its own thing here.
Okay, maybe it's just coincidence then.
Not 100% sure. We'll have to we'll have to wait to see the till the game comes out, because there's a lot of questions that we just don't know yet.
It's weird to see a little ice island over there, but you're just as high up, and this area
Yeah.
is not ice. It almost seems like a like Mario Galaxy with the different worlds that you
Mhm.
just jump into.
Different biomes. So we cut to this new view, and this is where most of the gameplay segment takes place. I like seeing the waterfalls and stuff in the sky too. So
Yeah,
beautiful.
there's another two of those boxes that I believe were the labyrinths. You just see them both in one shot.
Yeah, so to the north, this would be the Tabantha Labyrinth, and what's that west? That's the I forget what labyrinth that was, but yeah. So those are the labyrinths, and we also see this structure, which I've pointed out before.
Yeah,
this tower looking thing, which is super cool. I want to see what that is so bad.
I'm still putting money on it that it's a dungeon.
I hope you're right. I really want it to be, yeah.
I feel like it could even be like the first dungeon you do too, because it doesn't seem like it's going all too hardcore like the random lightning in the sky or Death Mountain blowing up. So it might be the first dungeon.
So Aonuma at this point mentions these trees, which are the ginkgo trees. Well, he doesn't call them ginkgo trees, but
yeah,
he says that these trees are really, mainly at least, only found in the Sky Islands. And in Japan, there's the ginkgo trees, which are similar looking trees. They bloom into these like golden leaves during certain times of the year. They're meant to represent health, like healing, and not perspiration, preservation.
I just look
What
at
word
them
am
and
I
it makes
looking
me
for?
sweat.
The ability for something to persevere through like sickness and stuff like that, which I think
that involves
is
sweating.
Yeah, which I think is significant because we're pointing out that this Hyrule seems to be a version of Breath of the Wild that's covered in malice. And
Yeah.
despite that, these have been standing up in the Sky Islands, surviving. And also because these trees can live for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, that is also kind of similar to like these have been around during the time of the calamity, and they still survived too.
I wonder if these were because they got brought up from the ground or they came down from the sky.
Yeah, through like Skyloft or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Because we're assuming that these are coming from the ground, but I think the land of Hyrule doesn't look quite nearly as damaged for stuff like this. And these guys,
I don't think that these are from the ground.
They survived.
I never got the impression that the Sky Islands came from the ground. I think that everything has come down from the sky. Or the sky barrier from Skyward Sword. The sky barrier had been like destroyed or something along those lines. Is my assumption, but again, we have no clue. It's just interesting. Also, another note about these trees is that they're mainly planted at like Shinto shrines. All these Sky Islands have a lot of like old Shinto like structures on them, and in that context, they're usually meant to represent the cohabitation, I guess, of human-made structures and the natural world.
Yeah,
and these Sky Islands seem mostly pretty natural with all these trees and stuff, but they're still clearly man-made and have these man-made structures on them.
All these islands remind me of like gardens, like how you would tame a garden.
Yeah, and they're mainly planted in like Shinto shrine gardens, and we even see man-made enemies called these constructs on these like otherwise natural looking areas, which I think is symbolic of like the other meaning of these trees. So that's just some really cool symbolism. The ginkgo trees. Anyways, on that note, this is a new enemy called a construct.
Yep.
That's cool. Has a big old eye on it. Clearly
reminds me of the Guardians, but like but not quite the Guardians. Now, these are Zonai creations, correct? And the Guardians were Sheikah creations, right?
Yes.
So there's a distinct difference between the two, is what I guess I'm trying to get at.
A lot of people think that the Zonai might have been like really ancient Sheikah, but we know so little about the Zonai. Most of what we know from the Zonai camp comes from the art book, and a lot of people feel like that's only like questionably canon, like 90% canon or so. So it's kind of difficult to say how much we actually know about the Zonai. For the most part, I think that everything is canon unless something from like a higher version of canon, like the games, overwrites it. But for now, we have so little information on the Zonai that it could be completely canon.
It's canon until Nintendo says never mind.
Yeah, these could be the Zonai for all we know. This guy could be the Zonai. Like we know so little.
Could be the Zonai itself.
Yeah. We know so little about the Zonai and about the story of this game, and Soldier Construct Horn and Zonai Charge. So these are clearly Zonai.
Yeah, it's Zonai creation, or I guess what you were saying, Zonai themselves.
I don't know if that's actually true. I was just making some
Well,
weird
maybe
observations. Um,
it could just be a race of like robotic beings. They are coming
True.
from the sky.
Yeah. We also see this mushroom, which I don't think was in Breath of the Wild. I think that that's a new resource. We also see
I
some
would
more
need
of
to
it.
see I would need to see the name. I don't remember every resource that was in Breath of the Wild.
We see
It
some
does
more
look
right here.
different, and at least initially.
He doesn't get close enough to see the name, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There are some other plants that are new that we'll point out. And then we get to see one of the main new gimmicks, which
Yep.
is
The main gimmick. Well, I
well,
mean, there's
one of them.
others, but I will say we're probably going to be using this a lot.
Yeah. It's called I forget what it was called already.
Fuse.
Fuse. It's just called Fuse.
Yes.
Okay.
And that stick would not support a boulder.
No.
That thing would snap in half.
I like how there's the option to put it on the old wooden shield too.
Yeah.
Which we have a name for this shield, I guess. We hadn't had one before, but old wooden shield.
Wooden shield.
I guess you would just be fusing a rock to it, which we see something similar later. But yeah, he makes a makeshift hammer, which doubles the attack +2 from 2 before.
Yeah. I don't know if it well, yeah, it was 2 before, so it adds 2. I wonder if that means it doubles it or if it's literally just +2.
It's probably just +2. But
so if I put it to like a Hylian greatsword, if it's just going to be a +2, then
yeah, it'd be like 18 +2 or something like that. Then we have more Zonai constructs. And also, I think that was wrong earlier when I was saying that maybe the ones on the surface were corrupted because of that red light, but these guys also have red light.
Yeah.
I just have seen people talk about that before, and I think I don't quite know. That could just be like a Metal Gear Solid like Vukona vision. And
that actually did a very good job. Yeah, that was like one solid combo.
Old wooden stick.
Dropped would have really helped on the Great Plateau area when I first played Breath of the Wild.
I think that this is going to be a good way because we are starting from 0. Like we have 4 hearts as opposed to like I beat the game with max hearts and stamina. So we're kind of starting from scratch here in a sense. And I think that that's really frustrating for players that played through all of Breath of the Wild. So this is going to be a way for people to kind of catch up again real fast in a somewhat cheaty feeling way. But like, I mean, you beat Breath of the Wild, so
yeah,
you're the master of this world already.
Yeah, you should know how to at least navigate and do at least 60% of the stuff that you're going to be performing.
Exactly, and so to kind of catch up the players weapons wise when they have not that great weapons like sticks and stuff, is going to be a better way to catch up, if that makes sense.
He's literally fighting with sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Now this next part I'm gonna like a lot. So the lances, okay, so the lances in the original Breath of the Wild, it didn't feel like they did a lot. It just kind of felt like, well, why use the lance when it gave you a little bit more reach, but not that much compared to like a greatsword that just knocks everyone back.
It was long enough for a lot of types of enemies, but as soon as you're facing either a Moblin or a Lizalfos, it's basically useless.
But now we can make it comically long.
Yeah.
A proper long spear.
And that gives +4, it looks like. And yeah, this is a super long spear. I also like that there was the option to fuse it with a shield again.
What would you do?
I can understand like spiky shields or something like that, but this is just a big old pitchfork.
I would laugh so hard if it was just a pitchfork coming out. And like it didn't really give you much of an advantage.
When he fused the boulder to the stick, it made the boulder way smaller. Like way smaller. So it is possible that it would just shrink it to a size that makes more sense. But I mean, yeah, I would still like to see what it would look like with the fuse with the old wooden shield.
Yeah.
We also see more of these like lotus flower things, which you've been seeing all over the place in the Sky Islands.
Yeah, We saw them on some of the constructs. We're what we're calling them, like the gecko thing.
Yeah, there's another construct over here. I think that we know what that gecko thing is now from this, but
I
I'll get there in a bit.
yeah, I think they show it off again. Yeah,
If I'm correct, at least.
maybe. I like it's so comically long when he runs. When he runs, it just seems so impractical.
I know.
Like with it on its back.
Kind of love it. Oh, and then this.
This is
We
fun.
can fuse arrows with stuff. I really want to see what happens when you fuse it with raw meat.
I so what I think should happen is if you were to use it with raw meat, it should attract the wildlife to attack
That'd be cool, yeah.
the thing. But generally, I like what's happening here because now we're actually giving incentives to keep all the material that we have and actually use them.
Exactly. And I kind of wish that he doesn't fire the arrow with this Korok frond, unfortunately. But Korok frond, that's a cool thing. There's
It's
also
an
a leek.
interesting
There's
name.
all sorts of stuff you can fuse.
Yeah.
He goes with the white choo choo jelly, which to me, this tells me
Makes
that elemental arrows are not coming back. And instead we're
unless
fusing them together.
unless it like amplifies or combines the effects. So like
So like
if
even
you were to
more.
use if you were to like use an ice arrow with the ice thing, instead of it just hitting an enemy, it like creates an area of
Like a
effect.
blizzard effect or something like the
Yeah.
rods. Okay. That could be the case. I personally think that this is going to be the new ice arrows because this is similar
It
to
would make
how they
sense.
work in other games like Ocarina of Time. Like you didn't have separate types of arrows for the bow. You just pick your bow and then pick what kind of arrow you're shooting. And then
Mhm.
just the same shared arrow resource for all of them. So this also adds +1 to the attack too.
That's nice.
So that's cool. Then he shows off hunting. We've actually seen this before in a trailer. These like heat-seeking homing missile
Yeah.
arrows.
I appreciate it that it's the eyeballs though.
Yeah,
As you'll see in a second, as Aonuma misses every shot he
yeah.
makes.
This is
Pretty
that dragon again.
He
That's why
hits the
he was.
dragon and then gets torched.
That's why he was wearing those really classy spectacles, because
Mm.
his hand-eye coordination just isn't as good anymore.
I love that it's an eyeball because it makes sense for the arrow to
Yeah,
like look at it and track it. It's fun.
and this is really cool because a lot of people have really mixed opinions on the gyro controls for the aiming, and you can disable them or re-enable them. A lot of people felt like shooting with the bow and arrow in general was really difficult, and this
Mhm.
kind of eliminates a lot of people's issues with that. It's like you can
I
still do
actually
the gyro aiming if you want. You can have that precise aiming, but if you're really
Mhm.
not a gyro person and you still want precision, then you can go with this.
I actually think the gyro in this game was really really good.
Yeah, I quite liked it, but
Especially
then my girlfriend hated it, for example.
yeah. Well, I could see people not liking it if like for me, I normally played it on the pro controller and I played it on the TV.
Yeah.
I could see it where like you have to like physically move your switch around and that might be annoying, but
Yeah.
I liked playing it on the couch and for me that worked out really well. Kind of like Splatoon. Splatoon does a very
Yeah.
good job with its gyro as well.
See, I played it handheld and I didn't have as much of an issue with it. I can still understand people are just not used to moving around in that way, so I can still understand.
Yeah.
A lot of people also, like my girlfriend, when she's playing games, she like I was watching her play through the Spyro Reignited trilogy. She like moves her head and stuff. Like when she's like turning left, she like turns left. Like her body turns
Oh,
left. So like I think that
yeah.
for gyro for those kind of players that like get into the game is maybe a bit more difficult.
Counterintuitive to
Yeah,
what they want to do.
exactly. So in this sense, this helps those players as well. Where it's like
I
it
also
goes
noticed
against
that
their natural instinct otherwise. So he fuses this puff shroom, I think is what he called it.
yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. Though that I believe that was the mushroom that you took notice of earlier. It
No, this
has
is
the
a
same,
different one. The other one was blue, but this is
oh,
a different mushroom. But this is also new from Breath of the Wild too.
and that, yeah, that's that. Put on your cheat codes and get yourself a free sneak attack.
And it looks like it destroyed the mushroom. So it literally
Yeah.
just exploded, and then the old wooden shield is just a regular old wooden shield again. But this is going to be interesting for stealth things. Like you could maybe fuse that to an arrow, for example, and then
Hmm.
create a smoke screen before you go in, and then start eliminating guys.
Another thing I'm actually noticing on the map, the mini map, there are two icons. One, I believe, is might be the latest shrine, is what I'm calling it, which is
Hmm.
kind of like a fast travel point. But then there's also like a little house check mark there.
So we see later that these are caves because Link goes into a
Okay.
cave.
Okay.
And yeah, on this point, we can actually touch on this now. A lot of people have been pointing out that the caves have checked and unchecked marked
Mhm.
things.
Okay.
I actually did a YouTube short on this where there's like checked and unchecked versions of it.
Nice. Plug in within a plugin. Nice.
Yeah, throw to a 15-second video. But yeah, to your point, these look completable in the same way that shrines were for Breath of the Wild.
Hmm.
But we also see this what looks like a teleport point that looks like a lot like the shrine from Breath of the Wild.
I was gonna say that's gonna hit my dopamine. Getting all those dungeons and whatnot, seeing all those check marks.
Yeah.
It's the rush of a completionist inside me.
So this icon right here does kind of look like the shrines.
Hmm.
And also in that video, I point out that it looks fairly similar. It's not quite the same icon as shrines, but it has a similar kind of look and overall shape. And you can almost
Yeah.
kind of tell where, with the old shrines, if you had gone the teleport point, but you didn't like complete the shrine, they would still have this like yellow glow in it. You can kind of
Hmm.
almost tell where the yellow glow would be. So I think that both shrines and these caves are going to be completable. Where the caves are kind of smaller dungeons, whereas the shrines are maybe slightly bigger, like shrine-sized dungeons.
And it'll be nice to fill out the map with these little objectives, because I don't recall the map being necessarily sparse in Breath of the Wild, but I do believe there could have been more to see on it.
Yeah,
I believe it all, and a lot of Nintendo games kind of do that. They kind of leave it up to you to like place markers on the map,
yeah,
which sometimes can be a little annoying. I'll be honest, but
yeah.
so hopefully they fill it if they fill it out a little bit more in this game.
In any event, because that construct couldn't see him, he's able to do the sneak strike, some Metal Gear Solid type stuff.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he's just
Oh, that's
showing
great.
off that you can fuse all sorts of like weird combinations, like a stick to a log. You can also fuse it with the old wooden shield, whatever that would do.
I see a sail there.
Yeah, like maybe that would be like a blowing type thing, and then he fuses a rock to his shield.
I wonder how that affects shield surfing.
Yeah, probably not great.
I wonder if, like, immediately when you shield surf, you just fall off and, and bail.
Hmm. So we're
Now,
teleported to
here's
this lake here.
this is where the more creative aspect of this fusing technique comes into play.
Yeah, we get the Ultra Hand ability, which is super cool. You can attach stuff to each other to like make these contraptions.
Now, I wonder, because you clearly see that there's a lot of goop that actually ties everything together, if that's a
Yeah.
resource you put on or if that's just part of the ability.
At first we were speculating that it was going to be a resource, but
Hmm.
now I'm thinking that it's just Ultra Hand goop. I don't know if it's going to be a resource in the same way that we were thinking initially.
Yeah.
Which is weird because there is that Hinox that has the goop around its neck, which is why I thought that it was going to be a resource, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe there's some stuff that Aonuma's not showing.
Yeah, it could be depleting a resource, but yeah, it just doesn't show it.
Yeah. And then the ability is called the Ultra Hand, which I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but before Nintendo made video games, they did have an old
Oh,
toy called the Ultra Hand.
that's what that was called. I remembered that they made that toy. I just forgot what
Mm.
it was called. There was
Yeah,
a I think a Wii Shop game made about that, or a Wii game, like
there
one
was
of
an
the
Ultra Hand
WiiWares.
Wii game.
A WiiWare. Yes. Ha!
Grill off
I
his
I
Ultra Hand.
I played that game.
I had no clue this existed. Yeah, and people have also pointed out that in Splatoon, one of the shopkeeps has an Ultra Hand.
Oh, that's fun.
So the Ultra Hand, it's been around. That Nintendo hasn't completely forgotten about it.
It's making a comeback.
And then we have an ability called the Ultra Hand, which also allows you to pick up stuff from a distance. So I don't know if it's entirely intentional, but
I'm sure they're self-aware, because I'll be honest, the name Ultra Hand for this ability, I don't jive with it too much unless it is a reference. If it's a reference, then I'm okay with it.
yeah, I'm not sure if that's something that I would name it, for example.
No, I wouldn't name it. I would name it something complete. I would name it like Nuts and Bolts or something. I wouldn't name it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, people have been pointing out already some contraptions. I've seen some people's mock builds on like Reddit and Twitter and stuff. People building some like phallic shaped rockets, for example. And so it looks like this is like a fan, and there's some kind of battery indicator on it.
I wonder if that's something that it can replete itself, or once it's out, it's just out. Oh, it does.
Yeah,
it
we see
itself.
it. Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
replenish over time.
Okay, cool. So I really want to build the spaceship that that we're going to be building. There's going to be some wacky stuff. I'm really hoping they lean in on the more wacky nature of what this is going to be and what this is going to entail. I just want to see Link rocketing off into the sky.
Yeah, some like Jeff Bezos looking rockets. I think because Aonuma mentions shortly after this actually that you can build like you're probably already thinking of the different kinds of things you can build, and chances are you can probably do it in this game, which is just cool. And then we see right here on the other side this guy, which is a ranger construct.
He's not initially attacking him, and it has a name. Weird.
Yeah. So the other guys were like soldier constructs, as I think the item that dropped explained.
Yeah.
They were called soldier constructs. These guys are ranger constructs, so they're not soldiers, so they're not attacking in any way. And he seems to be tending to like a tree or something like that. I'm unsure. But yeah, these guys look similar. We see a few of them throughout throughout this gameplay demonstration, and it looks similar to this guy that we saw in a previous trailer in the Nintendo Direct teaser.
Maybe is that a bigger version, or is that just like the
Close
video
up.
playing tricks on me?
Yeah, it appears bigger. Like it looks huge, but maybe it's just closer up. I'm not sure. I think that it is. This is some kind of cutscene. This is not regular gameplay. So I think that it is just like a larger version of the construct with these like bell earrings. I don't see bell earrings on this guy.
Oh, yeah. I think I do. It's right at the neck.
Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to tell with this trailer. It's a little hard. That could be that guy was just one of these guys, or maybe it's a larger version. Maybe the camera is playing some tricks on us. Unsure right now. We have a new resource. Stam bulb, like stamina flower bulb. I don't know.
I appreciate the ease of access when it comes to the like material, but it always annoys me in games when the names are almost verbatim what their function is.
Yeah.
Like almost all of them are. I'm like, man, call it like I don't know, something else.
Stamina shroom, which we actually see a stamina shroom over here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm like stamina shroom. I'm like, could you give it like another name? Just give it a name, and then maybe in its description you say stamina.
The shield mushroom also for
similar. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, come on.
Razor
come on. Give me some lore.
Yeah. Yeah, for better or for worse, stamina bulb. And he's just talking about some of the different contraptions you can make with the fuse ability, with the Ultra Hand. Destiny. So just talking about like the different kind of things you can do. That's just cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to see everyone's phallic rockets.
Oh wow, that depletes very fast.
Yeah.
That did not go anywhere.
No. On the map here, we can see both the completed and uncompleted caves. Also, this looking symbol and an item shop
Mm-hmm.
all on the Sky Island. So maybe there's going to be some kind of machines you can buy some stuff from, or maybe just Hylians or Rito or something are flying up here.
Well, you'll in this game, it seems like going to the shop will be more worth it, and there's more reason to spend your rupees just to get like the material to combine.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Spending money on
it
rupees
actually
didn't make any sense in the first game.
no, in the first game when I got rupees, I'm like, whatever. But in this game, it's if especially if the resource like it, everyone was annoyed in the first game that your equipment broke so often. But I think in this game, it'll make more sense because now you can actually start crafting stuff together and putting stuff together to like increase the longevity of your weapons, but also like change up the usefulness of the weapons as well.
Yeah, like
Um,
if you want a weapon that blows people away, you don't need to just have a Korok leaf and that's the only weapon. That
yeah.
can do that now. There's apparently arrows where you can fuse the Korok leaf too. Or there's like a fan that you can throw onto, like a stick or something.
Hmm.
So yeah, it seems like there's a lot more versatility. So going to shops is going to be a lot more interesting. I just think that it's
Yeah.
interesting that there's a shop on a Sky Island.
Well, Beetle gets around.
And then there's some kind of like green deal here as well.
It also it kind of look the green thing might be like a marker that you place down. I
Oh,
know the marker in Breath of the Wild might look different, but
could be.
maybe that's a manual marker. I
Could be,
could be
yeah.
wrong.
And then we have the showcasing the Ascend ability, which is
The
kind of cool.
climb be gone.
Yeah. I liked climbing in Breath of the Wild, but it was super
I
tedious.
did too.
And
It
again, like we were talking about for people that had played Breath of the Wild previously, starting from zero with really low stamina is going to be annoying to
oh
do the
yeah.
climbing all over again if you're used to the world, which is what Rivali's Gale was for people who had like mastered the Zelda Breath of the Wild map already. But this kind of eliminates the need for climbing in a different way
Yeah.
because I doubt that the
I'm
champion abilities are coming back.
gonna go on a slight tangent. Rivali's Gale kind of broke the game for me
Mm-hmm.
in Breath of the Wild because it allowed me to skip a lot of like little puzzles or like intended routes. It was the first power that I got, so it changed the way that I played the game.
And this could do something similar. Like you could, for example, from this cave, go to the top of this, but it's going
Yeah.
to be way more situational. Whereas with Rivali's Gale, you could like climb any surface super easily.
Hmm.
With this, you need to have something above you in order to get on top of it. So
Yeah,
it's way more balanced than Rivali's Gale.
it sounds like they might be actually taking that into account as they build up their world that people can do this. Where I don't know if they really did that with Rivali's Gale because there was a lot of things that I could just skip over with that ability.
Yeah, exactly. Puzzle wise, it was a little OP. So we have, if you're going through like a really large surface, then you go through this view, which I think is super cool. There's a back button, so you can like cancel, I guess, if you're like,
Mhm.
never mind, I accidentally did that or something along those lines.
I like how he's swimming through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
We've seen this ability before in one of the previous teasers of him coming through an island.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this is, now we finally know what that is, which is the Ascend ability. Was just kind of cool. Also, in this little cave here, as we're like going into this cave, you can see how I mentioned the
Already
caves
completed.
are completable in some kind of way. We see another ranger construct.
These ranger constructs don't have good vision or they're not meant to attack you because they haven't attacked him yet.
They're not, because the soldier constructs are soldiers. So the ranger constructs are just for other purposes. Is my assumption, at least.
I thought they would be like the long range bow and arrow ones, but
Oh,
maybe not.
I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think ranger in like the real world sense, not like the high
Yeah.
fantasy sense. So we have another construct with an already fused weapon. So some constructs might have the fuse ability already, or just picking up pre-fused weapons.
That's probably an ability that came with the arm. So I think all like these are very similar in terms of like beings,
Yeah,
probably,
Zonai ability. So
and his right
constructs,
arm ability.
Zonai constructs obviously would have similar abilities. And that creates a fan, kind of gust of wind deal.
Very, very fun.
Smell a shroom.
This might get annoying for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, being on top of the Sky Islands, definitely.
just to get shot off.
And we talked about this previously, the way that you get from regular falling to this kind of view where you can like skyward sword falling, looking like aim where you're trying to go. And from here we can see the UI is a little in the way, but some malice infected parts of the ground.
Yeah.
One of those towers again. A painted mural on the ground.
There's actually a no, those are never mind. That's wind going by. I was like, why is there light coming from the ground?
Yeah, no. Those are like streaks of wind. So there's just a lot that is different in this game compared to Breath of the Wild's map.
You really do get a good view of the whole map.
Yeah. You see a lot more Sky Islands. We're falling, and then you go into this like free falling. Once you've picked your destination.
I disagree that you shouldn't take any damage from that. That
some
would
video game logic. This
hurt
should
a lot.
Break every bone in Link's body.
This should definitely hit some hearts.
This is some Minecraft logic right here.
I think yeah, Minecraft, you'd live.
And we see one of those Kargaroks, what I'm assuming are Kargaroks, again, with holding up a Coblin. And also one of these like building areas that we saw next to stables. Yeah, so we see one of these building areas that we saw next to a stable previously.
Mm-hmm.
And a stable in the distance too.
There's a little sign in front. I wonder if it. I really hope that you can dictate what each buildings are gonna be.
Yeah, if I had to guess, this is how you interact with it. This sign here, you click on this sign, but we don't have enough information. There's like some resources here too. There's like bricks with like these like highly, like someone put this down here.
Yeah,
like for building almost, it looks like. And this cape or whatever, this cloth on top of it is not tattered like old Hyrule stuff is. This is new.
It's like you got it from Home Depot.
Yeah. Like Hyrulean Home Depot, like the Bolson Construction Company or something, like put this over it recently. Like the rope is still taut. So it's just interesting building like construction stuff around around right next to this this like thing that looks like it's a building construction site thing. It's just, yeah, I think
it's interesting that it's just kind of left behind.
Either left behind or this is a new construction.
Yeah.
And then that's basically all we have, actually. They showed off the new Switch, which I pre-ordered.
Good.
Effect added.
It looks pretty clean. It's the OLED version, right?
Yeah, I think that they're only making OLEDs from here on out. I like the effect added title. In case you didn't know.
No, I expected mine to glow like 1,000 suns.
Yeah. Yeah, so this, man, it looks so freaking cool.
It is pretty cool. I like the gold look to it.
I have this pre-ordered. I can't wait. There's also a case and the Pro Controller.
Pro Controller is kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the Joy-Cons are better though.
I think so too. I do want to pre-order this, but it seems sold out everywhere now. There was a few other things I wanted to point out that I neglected to. Somewhere.
What is that? Hold on, back up. Almost. He needs to turn around a little bit. There's like a crystal ball there.
Yes, this. Don't know what this is.
It's just a giant crystal ball.
A sky island thing?
I'm looking on the map. It doesn't look like there's any specific icon for it.
So, and there it also looks like there's some kind of rails with some mine carts.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that controls this, and like
You
the
can
end of
even
a
see
mine
the
cart thing here.
you can see the minecart going up and over the island to the left.
Yeah, and there's a mine cart right here too.
Damn,
So
that's a
maybe
lot of
you
minecarts.
use the ultra hand ability to pick up and place the mine carts to ride around certain parts of the islands.
It
Just
seems like
interesting.
the Ultra Hand is creative mode in this game.
Hmm. There is also, I think it's in one of these shots. We see a
Oh,
we see
that
a
looks like a boss.
platform where we've actually seen that boss before in a previous trailer. This seems like this chunk of blocks right here is probably this enemy, just unbuilt. Like you go up
Hmm.
to it and then it like expands into this enemy. Is if I had to guess what this is right here.
That's cool. The overworld did need more overarching bosses to fight.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was about it. There is one more thing.
Hmm.
On Twitter, they showed
Wow.
off this construct, or golem, I guess. And the translation is, if he finds someone he sees as an enemy, he'll start a fight. So be careful. It seems to be often seen on Sorashima, which I think is Sky Island translated,
Uh-huh.
which floats in the sky above the clouds. Sora meaning sky or wind. Shima, I
Yeah.
think, is like something along the lines of like island or something like that, or land.
He looks like a wizard.
Yeah, and we've seen this like fire breathing dragon type thing before, actually, in one of the
It was
trailers where Link has this like fire breathing dragon on his shield. So now
Mhm.
we know that that's the fuse ability. He fused
That
this
golem defeated enemy.
onto his shield. That's cool.
That's
Like this thing is probably a drop or something like that from this
yeah.
enemy. And also probably drops this bow as well.
I'm pretty sure that was the bow you pointed out earlier in the video too.
Probably.
Like he's running around, I believe, with that bow.
Oh, it does look pretty similar, yeah. Yeah, this like
Very much so.
green thing with this protrusion on it. Yeah, I think that this is the same bow. Yeah, so it's just kind of cool though. Like we see a lot of the weapons that we've been pointing out before. Like we're getting a lot more context with, I guess,
Mhm.
this bow with this Twitter post. I like the comment. No way Min Min is in Tears of the Kingdom. And the on arms reference.
It's an expand dong profile. And this we only have, I think, one more month of it. One more month of waiting. This is everything we know so far.
On the Tears of the Kingdom subreddit, actually, there's this like ongoing picture post, I guess. There's this
So did they
ongoing
just
picture where people are counting down the days until release of Breath of the Wild, and it keeps drawing over the previous one. So we have 38 days left, at least at time of recording. Once this is posted, I think it's going to be more like 34 or 33 or something like that. No, a week. No,
Mhm.
no, no. It's going to be like 30, like 5 or 34 or something along those lines. Days left, but yeah,
When
we're
did this
about a month
start?
away. At least in the 200s.
Okay.
There's also this guy who I want to shout out, who's been doing these posts drawing badly until the sequel to Breath of the Wild comes out. Day 876. This guy has been dedicated. This guy's
870, that's 2.5 years or something like that, isn't it?
yeah, he's been doing this for like 3 years almost. He's been posting drawing badly every single day until the sequel, before the sequel of Breath of the Wild was even announced in the first place. He's been doing this. This
Oh
poor guy.
god. uh
So
well,
the
kudos to you, sir, for waiting so long.
yeah, and he still has 30 days to go, a month left, and then he'll finally be able to rest.
Then he can join us for a rest.
In any event, that is everything we noticed from the Tears of the Kingdom gameplay demonstration that Mr. Aonuma-san showed us. Now that we've recovered and had ourselves a little chat, what did you think?
Leave us a comment on YouTube and like the episode.
That really helps us out.
We're also on Twitter and Instagram at the Low HP Podcast if you want to reach out there.
And subscribe if you want to catch more of us on YouTube.
We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Links in the show notes as always.